Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci fi show where things can get totally radical. Now, today, I'm doing something brand new. I'm launching a new feature or segment, if you will, where I interview somebody who had a very memorable scene in a classic movie. And, somebody who had like a really memorable scene, and then you don't see them throughout the rest of the movie, or maybe never again, career wise. And what better place to start than with Tracy Connor? She played the supermarket clerk in Home Alone when Macaulay Culkin, Kevin McAllister, goes shopping by himself. She kind of interrogates him to see if he's shopping alone or not. And I'm going to be interviewing her today. And I'm pretty excited about it because it's her first podcast interview. And we got to show her some love on this episode. I'd like to mention last Friday was the legendary stuntman Ted White's birthday. He's 82 years old, and for a lot of you horror fans out there, he is going to be at Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, California, April 13th through the 15th, and it's going to be pretty exciting. I know I'll be there. I mean, the guy played Jason in part 4 in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, so I'm pretty excited about that. So, yeah, so I'm waiting for my phone call right now for Tracy. So, let's get on with the whistling. Getting better. Tracy?
Tommy,
How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I apologize again for just kind of totally spacing it out today.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, since this is your first podcast interview, do you have any questions for me? I'm an open book.
Terrific. Um, what's the best case scenario? How do you like these to go and for how long and what will we chat about?
Mainly about Home Alone and a couple movie roles in your and how you got into the business and all that stuff. And
Okay,
it's it can go anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, but I'll just give you like 30 minutes or so.
brilliant. All right, that sounds fine and dandy. Easy peasy.
Awesome. So,
Oh, and my sister asked, is it better to do another kind of call on my iPhone to get a better sound quality, or is this fine?
this is perfect. This sound quality is perfect.
Okay, excellent. All right, cool. Good. I'm ready when you are. We'll just wiggle it around and see what happens.
Okay. Um,
Oh, Tommy, last question.
oh yeah.
Edit this before you put it together?
I edit like certain things like that I do in the beginning and stuff, but as far as the interview, not really. I mean, it's anything goes pretty much.
Okay. All right, good enough. Hmm.
Okay. So, where did you begin your journey in show business? Like, where did acting begin for you?
All righty. Well, I think acting kind of began for me at Emerson College in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I had mucked about with maybe going into theater, and then once I committed to Emerson, I was like, okay, I'm going to make a life somehow in theater. And that took me to a couple places. Took me to New York for an itty bitty time. Took me, well, I was a couple years in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and back to Chicago, and back out to New York, and then out to Los Angeles, and back to Chicago, and out to Los Angeles, and back to Chicago. So I had a lot of leapfrogging around, but that's just like a million other actors.
Right.
So Home Alone came to me when I was in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
and I had 4 auditions,
Right.
I was pretty thrilled about the whole process, and also completely, um, you know how when desire overwhelms you and you're like, oh my God, I need this, I want this, I have to have it,
Of course.
and you don't know if it's going to come your way or not. That's where I was with that. And so when I did get it, I was over the moon because I'd been acting and doing a lot of, 5 and 6 jobs to make ends meet, being little secretarial stuff and temp stuff and waiter and personal assistant, yada yada, like a lot of us. Anyway, when that came through, I was pretty thrilled, and I was dating a comic at the time, Paul Slater. He's up in Syracuse, New York. He still does stand-up. You may know him.
That name sounds familiar. Paul Slater?
Yeah, he has a persona called Bobby Blue that he's pulling back on stage now, and he used to do that in L.A. But anyhow, when it was winter when I was shooting Home Alone, and the best thing about that one day I had on the set was that Macaulay Culkin had a little cold.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an 8-year-old with a little cold. And it was my one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, I was like, oh, poor little guy. I got to see if I can spark him up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I started to improvise with him.
Mm-hmm.
And the bonus round on that was Chris Columbus walked by while I was doing that, and he overheard our banter, which was, hey, you here by yourself? Where's your mom? Where's your dad? Where's your brothers and sisters? And he and I kind of put our heads together for a second, and he came up with the tagline on the bit that was evolving, and that was Macaulay saying, I can't tell you that, and me saying, why not? And him saying, because you're a stranger.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that was Chris Columbus's tag on it. And then, the best thing happened ever, which was he said, well, why don't we just shoot that? Let's shoot this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said what, and he said what, and you said, and he said, and you said, and then he shot it. And I was over the moon right then, like, wow, this is what happens. You get cast in a part, you make up stuff on the fly, you improvise, and then they shoot it. I want to do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Well, they shot it, and then he goes, okay. He turns to the fellow playing the store manager in the little grocery store scene, and he goes, now you do her lines.
Mm-hmm.
And they shot it with that fellow doing the lines, and I went, oh, wow. Easy come, easy go, man. I had that wild, crazy feeling for about a minute and a half, and then he gave the lines to somebody else and shot it. So that was kind of the end of my experience, and when they premiered it, and they had special screening in Chicago, and I took my roommate and my boyfriend, and we didn't know if it was going to be me saying the one line, or if it would include any of the little improvised scenes, or if the manager would be doing the part that I had kind of created on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
So when the scene came up and it was the improvised scene in all of its little glory, I grabbed Paul's thigh and Angela's thigh so hard they both leapt up, and we all were like, ah! And it was really great. That was my 15 minutes, man. That was it. That was the whole 9 yards. And then I had friends on the West Coast that were clothing designers, and they were traveling in Europe a lot. And I got little messages from them that they had seen me in the trailer, because they used the scene as a trailer. And they'd seen it in Milan and Rome and London, all these places. And I had to kind of just thank my lucky stars, because it's now 26 years later, and I'm still getting kind of kudos and joy out of the one day of work. That's what's wacky and wonderful. It's way crazy. So I didn't get to have a series, at least not yet. And and I didn't get to go show to show to show to show, but I did have that moment in the sun, and on the strength of that, I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And, I had 13 interviews with agents, and at that point, I had so many jobs that I dressed up like a little corporate ninny and went to these interviews thinking, they'll like me because I'm wearing my little suit, and I'm so coiffed. And nobody took a second look at me. They were like, no thanks, we'll pass. Oh. But I did get introduced to a lot more improv there in LA, and I stayed there for a good 20 years, doing a couple, little things here and there, and a lot of improv, which is,
wow,
to the ethers. Yeah.
Did you ever study at the Groundlings?
I never studied at Groundlings. I was a theater sports person. So I was with LA Theater Sports for about a dozen years, and now they're called Improv. They're over in Vermont, and they've taken improv to a whole new level. Their long-form, genre-based stuff is incredible. And those are the guys that I played with back in the day. And they're a lovely bunch of coconuts, I have to say. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was 7 years old when my parents took me to see Home Alone, and it had been out for about a month, and it was like, by that point, 6 weeks at #1 at the box office. And we wanted to see what the hype was all about, and I just loved it from the first moment I saw it. And yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Well, it's been a real boon to me. It's been really just a little joyride because it's associated with Christmas. Mm-hmm. So I usually, all my nephews have seen it now multiple times, and friends and families will reach out and go, just saw you. And it's like every year for about, 2 weeks, I'm Cinderella, and I'm waltzing around in my pretty Christmas gown, and then it all disappears. And I go, okay, that was a good ride, and that'll kind of keep me going for the rest of the year. Oh. It was really a blessed, a couple years ago, I live in Cincinnati now, which is a lovely, undiscovered, well, it's rapidly becoming more popular city. And when Home Alone had its 25th anniversary, the symphony played the score live, and they screened the film. Mm-hmm. So I went, and I took my parents, who are in their 80s, and some friends, and the conductor acknowledged me being in the house at the halftime, at the intermission. Yeah. And Cincinnati is really supportive of the arts. Yeah. When my scene played, they gave me a standing O, and then they waited for the credits to come by and gave me just huge applause. Aww. And so much so that my friends were like, geez, Louise, what is this all about? And my parents were like, you didn't tell us it was going to be a big deal, Tracy. And it kept me high for the whole year in 2016. It was just such a lovely show of appreciation for. I felt like such a cheater because I'm like, I did that 25 years ago, you guys. That took me a day, but it just spoke to the popularity of the film. It was really fun, and I didn't expect anything to ever come around for that. Anniversary. What? Yeah. So that was really another wonderful little thing that I never expected out of my little 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's such a sweet character you play too, because she's concerned as to whether or not he's shopping alone. And one thing I noticed too, she seems a little disappointed that he wouldn't give his address out.
Yeah, right. Come on, kid, let's go a little further here. Where do you live? That was fun.
That sounds a little That sounds a little creepy, though.
Right. But I've actually had people reach out to me on social media and kind of express a similar type of thing and ask me. It's a little bittersweet. They say, well, what happened to that girl who did the Home Alone, the grocery girl? Did she do anything else? And I have to kind of go, well, I've done a lot of improv. I've made up a lot of stuff. And I still actually in Cincinnati with Improv Cincinnati, which is a team of really fun improvisers out there, much younger than myself, but they tolerate me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured because you didn't have that many credits, I figured you either got to be a comedian or an improv person or something.
Yeah, I'm an improv person, and I also do I do corporate stuff now. I took my actor skill set, writing and improvising, acting, and just kind of got invited into some corporate environments, innovation efforts and stuff, where people need to think out of the box. So, best world scenario, I get to use my peculiar skill set in an environment that's where it's kind of really useful and it pays well when the work comes. So I'm happy about that as well. Like I'm pretty blessed in that regard, and it's a boon.
Yeah.
And I have a representation out there in Cincinnati, and I've actually gotten more movie auditions there than I got, the last 7 years I was in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Which once a woman's over 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be in LA. I could be anywhere in the world. So Cincinnati is a really great place that I landed. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always thought that you looked like one of the Hemingway sisters.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, they had me on an apple box. I'm really short. I'm like 4'11" and 3/4. I'm just one of those shrimps. And they put me on an apple box so that people could see me next to the register.
Yeah, you could be like Muriel's like short tomboy sister.
There you go. All right. Take that in a minute. That'd be terrific.
Yeah, I love how you react to certain things in that scene. Like I like how you give him that look like, why you buying action figures when Christmas is in a couple of days, and he's like, for the kids.
Right. He was such a cutie pie. He was right there. That was fun. Yeah.
And the girl's name was Sally. Was that like an employee there? You borrowed her name badge?
I don't remember that. I still have my same shirt, and I still have my script.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that apron, but I'm not sure if costume department pinned that on me. I didn't come up with it. So I don't recall that one, Tom. I don't know. Not sure on that.
Okay. So then did John Hughes ask you to play the waitress in Dutch?
That was a funny story, too. I'm in Chicago. It's dead of winter. They have these auditions.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere up in some skyscraper down on Michigan Avenue, I think. And I walk into the room for the auditions for the waitress, and the other actors that are out in the hallway, it's every type of female imaginable. There's tall, skinny women, there's short, round women, there's obese women, and everybody is from like 16 to 65, and I went, ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. So I walk in the room, and John Hughes is sitting on the couch, and I announce myself, and I say, hi, it's Tracy Connor, and he looks up at me and says, Tracy, I know exactly who you are. I've been looking at your face every day for the last 6 weeks. And it was on the heels of Home Alone or something, so I didn't anticipate that kind of a reaction. So I was kind of like, oh, well, okay, right, of course, well. So he knew exactly who I was, and I was tickled to be cast in that because it wasn't a day. It was like, it turned into 2 weeks on set because they were running behind, and so I'd get bumped a day, but I was off in a hotel for a while, and I just got to kind of soak up what it's like to be on set. And that was a wackadoodle fun scene. It was a lot of physical takes because it was with Ed O'Neill.
Yeah.
And I knew it was funny because the crew was cracking up. And the thing on that was, that was my experience of ending up on the cutting room floor. And the funny kind of addendum on that was because by the time I had moved to Los Angeles after Home Alone, my boyfriend, Paul Slater, and I were living in the Larchmont area, and Paul was running the newsstand on Larchmont. Mm-hmm. And he ran into some of the editors. At least that's what he told me. I'm repeating it secondhand. And the editors said to him that maybe this was just assuaging Paul, but they said there had been so many waitress scenes in Dutch that had gotten cut, and that mine was the last one to get cut, but that the editors had fought to keep it in. But there were just too many waitress scenes, so I ended up being just one plump forearm in a shot that kind of passed over my middle. So I could kind of go, oh, there's my arm, and that's what that ended up being. But I learned a lot on that. That was a lot of info on what it's like to actually do in a movie for more than a day. Mm-hmm. Fun.
Yeah, I don't know how many waitress scenes were in John Hughes' previous Thanksgiving movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch that.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, you were on a couple episodes of In Living Color. Is that true?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, these tiny little bits and pieces. That was a blast. I would have loved to have done more of those. I was in a Handy Boy sketch with, I think, Damon, and then in a fireman. Is it Fireman Bill?
Fire Marshal Bill.
Fire Marshal Bill. Jim Carrey, and they're both funny scenes.
Yeah. How'd you get to do that gig?
I don't even remember how that came. It was. I can't remember the casting fellow, but I had gone in maybe more than once, and I think I knew one of the crew. I'd known her from Chicago. Not one of the crew. One of the main stage casting folks. One of the main stage cast. Mm-hmm. We had had some experience acting together in Chicago in a CBS kids thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't remember how I got there. I just remember it was a lot of fun, and I never went back on, probably because in the Handy Boy scene, Damon was taking my glasses off. I was Blind Mary, and he was taking my glasses off and putting them back on me for some reason, I think. And he was kind of poking me. He was poking me in the eye. And I was like, Damon, I'm actually a paid professional here, and you don't have to poke me in the eye. I'll act like you poked me in the eye. With my glasses. And I think I kind of took him aback, and I don't recall ever getting called in for that show again. It was just one of those moments like, I actually could flinch in a really believable way. I've practiced. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I used to watch that show every week when I was a kid. That was like, to me, that was better than Saturday Night Live at the time. Now I look back, I love them both, but like, In Living Color was so irreverent and groundbreaking.
Yeah. The whole methane and the cow, and yeah, they had some fabulous sketches that they did.
Jim Carrey was so, oh God, hilarious when he would do stuff like, play Mr. Rogers as a pervert, or the overly confident gay guy, or anybody he impersonated,
Yeah.
He was great. I see you did a movie called How to Get Laid at the End of the World.
Yes.
I've never seen that, but I support that movie title.
That was by my friend Lori Fontanis, and she was one of those indie producer directors who would just keep going no matter what happened. And she did a lot of fun, funky things, and I was part of the group of actors that she would call in. Mm-hmm. And I got to play a cop. I got to wear some kind of Kevlar vest and policeman's uniform and kind of mince and dance through the bridges of Venice, California at my final scene there, singing "I Am Pretty, Oh So Pretty." Yeah, that was definitely a little scene independent. That was pretty goofy, good fun.
Is it one of those festival movies?
I don't know what Louis did with that one. Quite frankly, it kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think it's released or anything, but it sounds like it's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
And you
Was.
and recently you did a movie called For Pete's Wake.
Oh, that was at least a dozen years ago as well. That was another independent that Pat Tallman. She's an actress and a stunt woman. She was on Babylon 5.
Yeah.
I was playing Pat's best friend. And Pat and I were friends. I mean, I moved to Cincinnati and I had to give up my whole community, and that's the worst part about leaving Los Angeles is losing a community.
Yeah.
But that was an independent as well, shot in the Valley. And I got to be a character. That was fun. That was also one of those things where you go, oh wow, what can we do? Can you shoot 90 pages in 8 days? Yeah, you can. It's wackadoodle, but you can do it.
Yeah.
And I think I had a certain amount of scenes. But we shot in a family home in the Valley. It was so cute to see the grandma and the grandpa coming outside. Like, you kids need something to have, a little soda or fruit. And it was a real family affair. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. I seem to be saying that religiously. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Well, you've been lucky. You've had some fun experiences.
I have had some very. I have had a good smattering of good experiences. I do have to say that.
It seems like you have a big part in the movie because on IMDb they got like the memorable quotes from it, and your character Mandy has a lot of quotes in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Better look at that.
Yep.
All right. Okay, Tommy, you gave me a homework assignment. I'll have to go check that out on IMDb. I haven't done that.
Yeah. When did you first meet Lisa Jane Persky?
Lisa Jane and I met. There's a writing teacher in LA, a poet, and his name is Jack Grapes. And there are a million writers in LA who have studied with Jack. Mm-hmm. And I took a class with him, and as all classes do with Jack Grapes, your class thinks it is the most genius, the most honest, the most groundbreaking writing group that ever existed on the face of the earth. And I was lucky enough to be included in a writer's group. We formed a writer's group out of Jack's class, and there were about, I think, 9 or 10 of us. Mm-hmm. And one was Lisa Jane. And her writing still, to me, is some of the best writing I've ever had exposure to. She and Wendy Goldman, Matthew Spector, just some incredible writers. And I was really lucky to hang out with those guys for 5 or 6 years just to encourage each other's writing. And they remain today my most favorite writing group.
Was that back?
We're no longer together because we're all over the map now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Was that?
I would read or go see anything they write or they produce. Oh my God. Do you know?
Absolutely. Was that back in the 90s?
When did I move here? I moved to Cincinnati in 2007. I think it was later than the 90s. I think it was 2000 to maybe 2006.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. Maybe it was 1999. I'd have to look back. Honest to God.
Yeah. By that point, Lisa had been long established and stuff like that in the movies.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, she had a long history. And she'd also, her work as a photographer too, a rock and roll photographer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I interviewed her a month and a half ago, and I was just so impressed that she started out doing the rock photographer stuff and all that, which
Yeah.
I didn't really know about. And I grew up watching her, and I just always loved how she's always this cute little daffy girl in movies.
Yeah.
And she was a good storyteller and really funny.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. She is absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. So Tracy, I thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for reaching out to me. I've never done this, and I think it's kind of fun, actually. So I'm grateful for the experience. Thanks, Tommy. That was fun.
Thank you, and may I connect with you on Facebook?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be so great. Thank you, and have a good day.
All right, you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have fun out there.
Hey.
Well, there you have it, Tracy Connor. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Tracy, for taking the time today while you're on vacation in California. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Um, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page. All that fun stuff. So, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.